So thanks, Adam, for sitting
problem.
with us.
Thank you for having me.
Adam Foster from Syrahmi Wines is sitting with us today, and Syrahmi Wines are our wine of the month at Residence. So we're kind of showcasing a whole range of the stuff that Adam's doing. You know, we've got heaps of stuff. We bought some special things to hide in our wine lists down the track, so you may not get it right now, but you'll get it later on. And I just wanted to sit with you, Adam, and chat a bit about how you got into this, what your story is.
Wow. How long we got? How long we got?
Because as I understand, you worked at the lake house as well.
Yeah. So originally I'm a chef. So
Yeah,
I
right.
trained for.
Do you mind if I drink while we
No,
chat?
please. Cheers.
Cheers.
So originally my background is I finished hospitality. I was in love with sort of year 12. I was doing like home economics and all that.
Yeah.
Loved it and knew I was going to do something. But so anyway, did my apprenticeship, moved to London, did all that Michelin star thing, came back.
Wow.
I was head chef of the Lake House back in 01, 02, and then came back.
And did Jasper work with you?
Yes, Jasper was at Lake
so
House.
there's like all these connections.
So it's actually some bizarre
Did he do his
connections.
apprenticeship with you? That's so good.
Jasper was there when I went back as F&B manager sommelier. So I had two kind of, so not only was I head chef, but I was then, so I'm in essence a hospitality junkie. I worked for McConnell, opened 312 just around the corner.
Oh, wow.
So I opened that with him back in, oh God, we're talking 05, 06.
And so you studied to be a somm? You worked?
I suppose I was working full kitchen up until Lake House in 2002. I left and I was going to open a restaurant with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And then I decided, why don't I just take some time off, get my head clear and before opening a restaurant. So I did vintage at Torbreck in Barossa Valley.
Oh,
just
cool.
randomly ended up there and loved it. So I did 3 months in the winery, 3 months in the vineyard and loved it. I was like, I want another go. So then I flew to Hermitage in France.
Oh, amazing.
So in the Rhône Valley with the
working
home of
with Syrah
Syrah.
again, yeah.
Correct. That's how sort of Syrahmi started coming, like the name Syrahmi. And then so I came back and then from then I was like, I'm not opening a restaurant. I always thought, you know, like an apprenticeship, you know, the best way of probably trying to make great wine is to make really bad wine, to learn to make good wine. So I bought 1.5 tons of fruit and
Awesome.
I made 110 dozen and that's how the dream began. You know, there's so much work and effort and energy that goes into running a vineyard.
Yeah.
For me, I was like, it's so easy to buy grapes, I'd rather do it. And then we built a winery because I was like, I was sick of renting a space. And then I was like, so we built it from scratch and everything's been made from home. So since 19, we've got our vineyard, the high density home block.
So just explain that to the average punter. We talk about plantings and you're kind of looking at nutrition kind of resources within the soil.
Correct.
And high density planting essentially, as I understand it, you can correct me if I'm wrong, kind of puts pressure on the vine in a way to kind of really like drive for nutrients.
Our vines are planted 75 centimetres apart, so very
What's
close.
the standard Shiraz?
So in Heathcote could be up to 3 metres apart.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so where we have 0.8 of an acre, we have just under 3,000 vines.
Wow.
And where our certified organic Syrahmi comes from in Northern Heathcote, there's 3,000 vines in 5 acres.
But are you seeing like a lower yield because of that, or are you seeing like, are you finding?
Yes, so the whole idea is yes, lower yield, but more concentration in the berries we have, in the bunches.
Cool.
So really reduce, and we drop fruit, like also to get it to that, which is crazy. So
you're going through mid-season pruning off fruit clusters.
Correct.
Wow.
So yes, you know, it's I'm aiming for like, you know, I call it basically a half bottle per vine. So every vine produces a half bottle where like in most vineyards in Heathcote, you could be getting 4 to 5 kilo a vine, 400 to 600 grams a vine. So it's crazy low. But you know, you'll see when you try the wine, there's this intensity.
Actually opened a bottle.
Oh, you did? Oh, good, good,
It was really good.
For me, the whole idea was Syrahmi, obviously meaning Syrah, and Ami, which is a French word for friend. Ami, Syrahmi, so a friendly Shiraz or a friend of. It all came about to make, really about just making great Rhône Valley wine, particularly Shiraz. And so...
Can I ask you there, why do you label all your Shiraz as Shiraz instead of Syrah?
We're in Australia.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
We call it Shiraz.
It's just about hitting a broader market.
It's just like every country in the world calls it Syrah.
Yeah.
We call it Shiraz, and I think just pay homage to that. Yes,
I love
my
that.
wine
It's
is
great.
probably more Syrah-like than most Shirazes in the whole of Australia, but for me, we're making Shiraz in Australia. We're not making Syrah.
Yeah,
I feel
cool.
like, you know, it's always, and then, you know, I think if I call it Syrahmi Syrah, it probably would have sounded a bit, you know, like K Syrah sort of thing. So I think in that, that was a really strong. I make
I've
Shiraz,
noticed
so
on
that
all the
makes
bottles,
sense.
I'm like, okay, this is obviously.
When we get asked
into this.
sometimes to put wines in, we've got a Syrah tasting, I go, make Shiraz, and they go, can you just change the label? I'm like, no, like it's un-Australian, like, you know, we're making
and
wine.
I think it is quite. It is. We've gone through this kind of pushback against Shiraz, I think, as drinkers, and I do think there's actually something to be quite proud of in the Australian winemaking industry around what we did with Shiraz, you know, and it's the same thing with South Africans with Pinotage or Chenin Blanc.
Correct.
It's like there's a heritage to this in our country that's really ours.
We obviously compare ourselves to the Europe a lot, and you know, because mostly we have European grape varieties in a sense, especially particularly French, obviously more Italian coming in. I'm the worst. I'm always benchmarking, I'm always trying, I'm always that. But for me, undoubtedly, I'm making wine that comes from Heathcote. It's a sense of place.
You can't avoid that.
No, you can't. You got to enhance that. You got to go with that. And that's the part that I think in Australia we really do make world-class wine. Like our Chardonnays are some of the best in the world. You know, Shiraz I think can be best in the world.
I just got this book called How to Drink Australian by a whole bunch of by a couple of American soms. It's really good. And they're kind of just talking about how the winemaking landscape in Australia has changed over the years, and it's really starting to push some of the boundaries of that kind of more pristine, more savoury style.
Correct, exactly.
Wine. People used to drink really old wine a lot more often. You know, they'd buy a 15% Barossa Shiraz and drink it in 10 years and be like, this is amazing. But the drinking culture around wine has definitely moved to a more immediate place. And, and people are looking for freshness in wine. And
but I think that was the culture that sort of started that, you know, like that real pet natty thing, and everyone going, oh, how good's this? We don't have to drop, you know, 120 bucks on a bottle. It's something good. It does its job, provides alcohol and probably refreshment, and that's sort of the thing. And I think, you know, that's all good and true, but, you know, there's that difference between that and I suppose a restaurant environment and that. And that's part of the reason why we always release the wines with age, like, because we only release like Syrahmi when it's ready, like, so we'll hold it back for 5 years.
2020
is the current release.
Which is 5 years behind, which is awesome.
Exactly, but look at it, like if I was to release, it's now for me just starting its journey. Like that now is like in a great zone. In another 5 years, it's going to be wow, like it's just starting, and that's the great thing that we get to do, that we get to release wines when we really think they're ready to.
We're drinking the Demi-Syrah, or Shiraz, sorry. Blasphemy. And so we've opened up these 3 wines to taste by the glass at Resonance, all of which are pristine and beautiful.
Basically, Garden of Earth, Syrahmi, the easiest way is if it basically grew in the Rhône Valley, so Shiraz, Grenache, Mourvèdre, Marsanne, Roussanne, Viognier, it would go under that label. Everything else goes under Garden of Earth Delight. So it's not like a second label, it's just, you know, some of the wines are more expensive. It's just where little parcels of fruit that...
You're saying we are focusing on the Rhône and the Rhône style?
In that style, but in this label, we'll do everything that's not in the Rhône.
Okay, cool.
And basically, it's Sangiovese, Nebbiolo, Chardonnay, Macedon, Pinot Noir, Macedon. So,
awesome. This is unreal. So, Sir Lee, you've named that in the same way that Muscadet does, Sir
Correct.
Lee. So,
long time on lees, 2 years total.
And are you doing batonnage and stuff with it, or are you letting it just sort of sit sort of more...
No, generally not. Once it goes in, we don't really shake or stir. It's sort of just leave it be and do it.
Just for the average punters again, Lees are dead yeast cells that add a kind of lovely pastry breadiness to wine.
Yes.
To give a bit more breadth and texture.
You create this sort of, and we sort of did it on the flip side. Like again, normally everyone would be in oak, you know, for the first year or 14 months, and then in stainless steel for the next year. But the way we made it was the first year was actually in egg and stainless steel, and then the second year in older oak.
With lees, you put it
with all in lees. So we sort of flipped it around the idea.
So, and you were saying your wife's a part of this winemaking process?
So Pip-Bop, she loves Chardonnay. I love Chardonnay, but I love drinking Chablis. So I just want to drink Chablis every day. And my wife's like, I'm going to make Chardonnay that, you know, you're going to love. So she does. So she's knocked it out of the park.
We are just blowing through this. So we've already put another order in.
I know.
And then the demi stuff is negotiate stuff? Is that?
Yeah, so basically everything we get in, all our fruit is bought in, basically. We have long-standing relationships with growers that grow it to our liking. So Syrahmi is the other wine that all our wines are single vineyard, single grape variety. They're no blending different vineyards. With Demi, it's the only one that is, it could come up to 4 or 5 different Shiraz vineyards, but what doesn't make Syrahmi goes into Demi. The whole idea of this, that it over-delivers, we're not buying cheaper fruit, we're not machine harvesting, it's all done by hand.
Drank 4 bottles the other night.
It's all wild yeast, it's all done in the barrels we would do to make Syrahmi. It's just bottled, younger and fresher. And that, in essence, is, thank God, has been our cash flow. Syrahmi is a certified organic vineyard, and he was the first in Heathcote to be certified organic, Carl. So what he does, and the grapes he produces are incredible. Awesome. And since that, our relationship, I convinced him of the way to plant me. So we have now 2 hectares of Grenache under vine
Awesome.
and a hectare of Mourvedre. So that's all coming on board. So those vines there were planted 5 years ago in that. So yeah, so coming forward and, you know, just working together. And he's obsessed about, it's incredible. Yeah. And he's so obsessed with growing and organics and biodynamics as well. So it's really...
Is it a trick up there? Like, is it hard to do with the weather conditions and stuff?
No, to be honest, it probably is one of the easiest regions. We have very little disease pressure.
Yeah, cool.
And we're normally very dry. We have very cool nights. So, and when the warm days, and we don't have much rain, to be honest. So out of a lot of regions in Australia, it could be one that most people could easily be, you know.
Achieve it
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks so much for chatting.
No problem.
It's so much
pleasure. Thank you for the support.
Oh, no, it's been great. It honestly is just
Thank you for a delicious lunch. If you haven't been, you should come.
Thank you. We've got a couple of other highlights on the menu. This will all be open by the glass. You've got to go talk to us all about this again.
Staff training.
Yeah, I know. So, thanks.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
No worries. Yeah, cool. All right, that's us. Cheers.